Okay, folks, I had an exciting day today, and I have to give you some background story before I can tell you what that exciting day was. Um, I don't know if you know this about me because why would you? I don't think I've ever said it. I used to actually be in the comic book business. I mean, a little bit. A friend of mine and I partnered together. He had some ideas. I wrote a script for his ideas, and he did some of the artwork. Actually, he outsourced the artwork to some others, and then he took care of the publishing responsibilities. I did the scripting and I did the lettering. So when you look at one of the interior pages from our comic book, Nephilim, you will see that you've got somebody else's art on the page, but those are actually words that I wrote, and the dialogue balloon arrangement is something that I did. Now, I don't know if you know anything about dialogue balloon placement, but there actually is something to be known about dialogue balloon placement. And I didn't think that was true originally until I saw my friend make his attempt at dialogue balloon placement. And oh my God, what a fiasco that was. He actually had stuff just all over the page, broken up into various ways that just really made no sense as far as how the sentences were grouped together. And the dialogue balloon placement was horrible. And the sad thing was that he actually printed up like 500 paper copies of this black and white material, even had a black and white cover at the time that we were going to sell at conventions. And it just had all of the dialogue balloons just screwed up all to hell. And I'm just like, oh God, when we actually go to publish, we cannot go live like this. You have to let me get in here, redo all of the dialogue balloons, and make sure that everything flows. And if you take a look at this particular interior page, you see that everything will flow. Everything flows either from left to right, or you start going from top to bottom, and then here's another top to bottom, and with the links between the dialogue balloons moving around as they need to be. But you can just basically have an easy flow of reading down the page. And so I'm very sensitive, apparently, to these items in dialogue tracking where you want to make sure that the reader's eyes are naturally following the dialogue. Now, the interesting thing that happened to me today is that Ethan Van Sciver, he is like the godfather of Comicsgate, and he is doing his second chance campaign for Cyberfrog 2, REKT Planet, which is the sequel to his original Cyberfrog venture, Cyberfrog Blood Honey. And he's already up to $160,000 on this. He was only up to like, oh goodness, like 60,000 the last time I was tracking this. So he's doing very well. And he showed this preview page, and I happened to read through this preview page, and I noticed a problem in how the dialogue tracked. And it's not easy to see from here. It's in the top portion here with this dialogue, so I'm going to blow it up some and show you where the problem is. Now you've got some good dialogue tracking to start off with. You've got left to right tracking here, you've got top to bottom tracking here, but this is where we get into a problem. Where do you go next? Are your eyes supposed to go here to the left, or are your eyes supposed to go downward? Now, the problem here is that the dialogue on the right normally would be read second, but the dialogue on the right is positioned higher, slightly higher than the dialogue on the left. Moreover, it's closer to this dialogue balloon than it is to, it's closer to this dialogue balloon than this dialogue balloon is to where it's actually supposed to go. And you know what? Here's what's really fascinating about it is that you can't actually tell while reading that a mistake has been made. If you go down instead of to the left, you get everyone is necessary, everyone has a job. Get it? You will. That that makes some amount of sense at least. I mean, it makes some amount of sense, but it doesn't seem to flow necessarily as good as if you go the other way and say everyone is necessary, everyone has a job. My job should be made clear to you. My name is Colin. Easy to remember because I'm the one calling the shots around here. Get it? You will. Okay, now it's clear how the linkage is supposed to go. We're talking about a job over here. We're talking about this guy's job over here. And then he makes a play on his name. and it says, "Get it, you will." So, "Get it, you will" is a reference to the wordplay he's making. So I went ahead and I said, all right, if it's not too late, because sometimes you're just going to send the book to print and, be done with it. I mean, every project, every creative project you do, there has to be a cutoff point at which you finally say, look, I've proofread this as much as I can. I've reread this. I've reread this. I'm done. And now it's got to go off to the printer. So I said, if it's not too late, here's a suggestion. Drop Cullen's last dialogue in the middle panel lower so that we don't end up reading that dialogue first instead of the left dialogue. And I included a picture that basically showed dragging the left or the right hand dialogue down to where it would be more intuitive and your eyes would flow from this particular dialogue balloon over to here and then in a nice left to right, top to bottom flow. Now, I wasn't necessarily expecting a response right away, but I actually got one. Ethan Van Sciver actually responded by contacting the letterer, Eric Weathers, and saying, "Good suggestion, can you?" And Eric Weathers responded right away saying, "Yep, got it." So I actually have made a contribution to Cyberfrog 2 REKT Planet. I have actually improved on this product. I have, for the first time, and you saw that was like 1998. So what is that? In almost 25 years, for the first time, I have actually done something in the comic book industry. So that's very exciting. That's exciting almost to the point where I'm ready to say, shut up and take my money and go buy a copy of this. But will I? No. I will actually be keeping my money on this one. And the reason being is that, I've been a comic book reader for 40 years now, over 40 years. And I've been a comic book reader for about 40 years now. And what I have learned to see is not necessarily what you're going to see. If you are looking at this page, you are looking at a thing of beauty. Obviously. I mean, look at it. Look at the detail. Look at the fine graining, the texture, the just all of the details, the colors. This is a beautiful page. But it annoys me in three different ways. And I'm going to show you. First is, why am I staring at two panels of a pig? I don't understand that. Now, there may be some kind of metaphorical language going on here saying that Colin, who is giving the talk and whose dialogue floats throughout these particular panels, is represented by the pig. He's got all of these little piglets, meaning the humans in his community, basically sucking on his teat, and this glare from the pig is basically saying, hey, I don't want you bothering my babies. That kind of is the motif that's coming across. The problem I have with that is that we're supposed to be, at this point, Cyberfrog and Colin are having this discussion, and he's giving Cyberfrog a tour of the complex. He's giving him the lay of the land. We're not getting that lay of the land. We're not able to see establishing shots of where they are, how they are living, how these humans are doing. Now, of course, this might all be going on other pages. I don't know about that because I'm limited in what I can see of the preview. So I hope maybe that that's what's going on. I don't know, though. So if this is actually the full discussion of what it is that they're doing, and it does start with a little caption saying the friendly debriefing, which means this is the beginning of a scene. I don't know if this is just basically two panels of wasting my time. I mean, now, if something, it could be like Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun is the motif where when you're telling a story, if you're going to show something, then that thing had better have some relevance to something that happens later in the plot. Like if you have a gun on the wall, the gun needs to be fired at some point. So if this pig, if its bacon is basically being eaten later in the later in the comic, then that would make sense. But otherwise, this is just kind of two panels of wasted space that, yeah, it's a pig and piglets, and maybe it's a metaphor for Colin. I don't know if I'm reading that into it or if that's what he actually intended. And it's just kind of annoying for me. The other thing that annoys me is the placement of Cyberfrog's knee at this point. I couldn't figure out why in the world he was lifting his knee that high. Was he doing like a Minister of Silly Walks thing? And it wasn't until I started looking way down in the left-hand corner where his foot is actually resting on this wooden barrier that's keeping the pigs in their pen. So you've got Cyberfrog basically having one foot on this wooden barrier. So that actually makes sense, but it took me like 30 or 40 seconds to realize that's where his foot actually was. And so that was a bit of annoyance too. And then the last thing that's just really annoying the crap out of me is who the hell is this guy? You have got Colin delivering some epic dialogue here where he finishes by saying, "And do you know why I did all this?" Talking about all of the preparations that he's made to keep people safe. He says, "Because I want to live." Now that is like really good, really solid dialogue with a punch that is absolutely drained of all its energy by having some rando just sitting here in the foreground of the panel. It's like, why the hell is this guy even here? It's almost like if you were saying, "And do you know why I did this? Because I want to live." Oh, hey, Steve. I mean, that's just, God, why? And there's another example. This is not just the only example just from this page. I saw a couple other pages in earlier previews of Cyberfrog 2. Like for example, this is the reunion scene between Cyberfrog and Heather Swain. Heather Swain has been his friend of many years, but he hasn't seen her in years because I think he's been regenerating and having to regrow damaged limbs and stuff like that. And so they've been separated for a number of years. And so finally they're reunited and she says, "Froggy," and then she says, "Huh? Where? I don't believe it. Where have you been?" Okay, what is this? What is this dialogue doing here? And again, this is a preview, so maybe this has been corrected by now, but we haven't been shown a corrected preview, so I don't know. But if this is actually what's the case, why is that there? Why is that there? It breaks the reunion moment of the scene, and with this moment of just absolute confusion, as if she spaces out for a moment. So I don't get that. There's another scene later on where Cyberfrog has just successfully fought one of the Vispas, which is the murder hornets that have taken over the Earth, and he's been infected with their venom. But it turns out that he has this special blood that resists their venom. And he didn't even know this until now, but his blood is rejecting the venom, and so he's going to be okay. But take a look at this for a moment where you see Lily, who is Heather's daughter, and Heather are facing him, and they're concerned about him because they don't know what's going on. And now he explains to them, "They can't turn my blood into honey. I'm going to be okay. My body is rejecting the venom." So here they are, it's all tensed up, and they're facing him. And then the next page, he tells them, "See, nothing to worry about." But what's the problem with this page? Her posture. I already know there's nothing to worry about. You know why? Because she was worried about him and was facing toward him in concern, and now she's turned her back on him practically. Okay, yeah, I already know there's nothing to worry about. You don't even have to spell it out for me. You have drained all the energy and tension out of this predicament by turning her back. If she were continuing to face the same way that Lily is facing, if she were to continue to face Cyberfrog, then this scene would be pumped full of energy because really, would we really know that there was nothing to worry about at this point? Would we really know that whatever his systems were doing to counter the venom, would those actually be working, or is this something that might be questionable? Well, just the fact that she's turned her back has kind of given us the signal that it's okay to just dampen the energy down and not worry about it anymore. And that's just sad because you need energy in a comic to survive. And I feel like there are mistakes being made here and there that are causing this energy to drain out. So I really feel like Comicsgate, one of the things that Comicsgate people lack is an editor. Somebody to basically oversee the comic and say, this is working, this is not. And granted, there's a lot of crowdsourcing that you can do. There's a lot of You've got other Comicsgate people who can comment on what you've done. I know that one of the things that Ethan Van Sciver has been crowing about is that he got 13 pages of notes from Fables author Bill Willingham. I would love to see those notes myself. Those are the kinds of things that's like those have to have gems in them, absolute gems of storytelling. And I wonder if any of the storytelling happens to match anything that I myself have said. I would be very curious to know that. So, anyway, yeah, this is not something I'm going to be picking up. And one of the reasons that I had thought that I would not be picking it up is its high price tag. If you were to get Cyberfrog Blood Honey, the team up variant, along with the Ashcan edition of Cyberfrog 1998, and then finally the Roquefort variant set of REKT Planet and Salamandroid Death Sting, that would be the complete Cyberfrog set, and you would be shelling out $90. Now, I happen to find out that this is actually not true. And I wanted to let you know about that because I did post a video earlier saying that, this had a very, very high entry price. And now I found out that there's actually a lower and more accessible entry price. And the reason I didn't know about it is because I did not know that these two books actually had a combined edition. So you'd still have the Roquefort variant set that's $50, but for $20 instead of the $40 for these two items, you can pick up the Ultimate Cyberfrog Blood Honey Silver Foil Embossed Rare Edition. $20 and you will get Cyberfrog Blood Honey and you will get Cyberfrog 1998, The Diary of Heather Swain. So you can get both of those for the low price of $20 plus the $8 in standard shipping. And that is the cheapest entry point that I have been able to see into the series so far. So I would recommend going to eBay. I'm going to post this link in my video description. I'm also going to post the link to the Second Chance campaign, which is still open. There's still 15 days left in the campaign. So if you have decided that this is beautiful enough artwork, good enough storytelling, that you want to give this a try, go ahead to one of those links. I'm not an affiliate link person as far as this is concerned. I'm not getting anything out of it. Just go ahead and go purchase this. But know that if you do get Cyberfrog 2 REKT Planet, I helped. So thank you for watching. Very exciting day for me. I get just my toe right back into the door of the comic book business, and I get to help out a little in making a comic book property better. So very proud of myself today. And thank you for watching. Please do hit the subscribe button so that you get notified whenever I put out my next video, and I will talk to you later.